A very good evening, Zimbabwe. You are listening to Studio 7 from the Voice of America in Washington. I am Kip Stube, and this is LiveTalk.
And I'm Marvelous Mhlanganya Huye this Friday, October the 9th, 2020, broadcasting from my home in Washington, D.C. due to the COVID-19 or coronavirus pandemic, which is currently ravaging the whole country and the whole world, including Zimbabwe, where we've seen in the past some of the cases going up this week. But luckily, deaths seem to be stable.
Now, we see that in Zimbabwe, there are almost 8,000 people who have contracted COVID-19. And out of this number, about 6,446 have recovered, 229 have died. Worldwide, there are almost 37 million people who have contracted COVID-19. And according to Johns Hopkins University, over 1 million people have died. And in USA, the same hospital reports that 7.6 million people have contracted COVID-19 in USA. And out of this number, 212,789 have actually died. Zulukanda balijani lapha likhona thina siyaphila ngapha kwele America. Namhla sixoxa ke nge-COVID-19 nokunye ke okubamba abantu kwele Zimbabwe. So ke nxa sikhangela ke i-COVID-19 sokulabantu abafika phose 8,000 asebebanjwe i-COVID-19. Selokhu kwaqhamuka umkhuhlane lo emazweni wonke jikelele. Kodwa kwele Zimbabwe khonapha sikhuluma kulabantu 7.951. Kwezokubuya ke 6,446 sebasila, 229 sebabhubha. Emhlabeni wonke jikelele i-Johns Hopkins University ithi sokulabantu abafika phose 37 million asebebanjwe i-COVID-19, abayimillion, abedlula imillion sebabhubha. Khonapho ke kule America isibhedlela lesi siyabika njalo ukuthi sokulabantu abedlula 7.6 million asebabanjwa i-COVID-19, kwezo 212,789 sebabhubha. So kunengi kakhulu ke okwenzakala emhlabeni wonke jikelele. Kunjalo Marvelous.
Aiwa, tinokuchingamidza ivese vari pachirongwa chedu pano paLiveTalk pamusi wechishanu kudai October 9, 2020. Icho tiri kutepfenyura tiri kumba ini ndiri muWashington DC nenyaya yeCovid-19, chirwere chatekeshera pasi rose. Tinoona kuti munyika pari zvino vanhu vanoda kutosvika pa 8,000 vabatwa nedenda iri reCovid-19. Asi vazhinji vavo, sekutaura kuri kuita bazi rezveutano, vari kunzi ivo vari kubatwa neCovid-19 vachinaya. Pari zvino vanhu vari kuwanikwa ivo vashaya kubva kudenda iri vari kusvika pa229. Tichitarisa zvakare kuti denda iri riri kunetsa zvakare imo muno muAmerica nepasi rose. Takaona imo muno muAmerica munguva yapfuura mutungamiri weAmerica vaDonald Trump vachizivisa kuti ivo vanga vabatwa nedenda iri. Asi Johns Hopkins University yemuno muAmerica inowanikwa iyo iri nzvimbo inobva nhaurwa idzodzi dzekuti zvakamira sei panyaya yeavo vari kubatwa nedenda reCovid-19 inoti pasi rose zvinoreva kuti globally pane vanhu 36 million vabatwa nedenda iri reCovid-19, 1 million wevanhu ava vachiwanikwa vachishaya. Kozoti muAmerica matiri pari zvino, sekutaura kwandaita, mune vanhu 7.6 million vabatwa nedenda iri reCovid-19, 212,000 vakawanikwa ivo vachishaya. Asi sekutaura kwandiri kuita nyaya huru yatabva kubata imo muno muAmerica ndeyekuti mutungamiri wenyika yeAmerica vaDonald Trump vakazivisa kuti vakange ivo nemudzimai wavo vabatwa nedenda iri reCovid-19. Saka takaona pachizoitwa ipo debate huru nemusi uno wabva kupfuura. Takaona amai Kamala Harris vemuno vakamirira mutevedzeri vachange vakamirira maDemocrats wavaJoe Biden navaMike Pence, vanhu vamutevedzeri wavaDonald Trump vanotungamira maRepublicans, vachitatsurana panyaya iyoyi yeCovid-19 kuti mapato maviri aya achabata sei denda iri.
So according to VOA News, it seems as if President Donald Trump says he's not going to participate in the presidential debate, originally scheduled for October 12th in Miami, allowing Democratic nominee Joe Biden to take part in an ABC News town hall event in Philadelphia that same evening. So Trump rejected the change to a virtual format announced Thursday by the U.S. Commission on Presidential Debates, which explained that the format was necessary because of the president's COVID-19 diagnosis. So asked about the virtual format on Fox Business, Trump said, quote, "I'm not going to waste my time in a virtual debate. That's not what debating is all about. You sit behind a computer and do a debate is ridiculous. And then they cut you off whenever they want," close quote. On the other hand, Mr. Biden said in a statement that they hope the debate will be sort of like virtual, and they agreed to that kind of debate. But at the end of the day, when Mr. Trump pulled out, they decided to hold another campaign event. So now, as we speak right now, the president is still recovering from COVID-19, and according to the White House, it seems as if he is doing much, much better. This is according to Dr. Scott Conley, who is the president's physician. So zulukandaba-ke siyabona ukuthi ingxoxo phikiswana khona ngapha-ke kwelemelika kube kumele yenziwe mhla ka-October 15 eMiami phakathi kuka-Joe Biden wama-Democrats lomongameli Donald Trump, ingane imisiwe ngoba-ke kukhanya ngazani uTrump kafisa ukuthi kwenziwe lokho kuthiwa i-virtual format njengoba kule COVID-19 kumele bayenze endaweni ezitshiyeneyo. So singazi ukuthi kuyawuzala nkomoni ngakhonokho, kodwa-ke uBiden ubefuna ukuthi bayenze yena le virtual debate, kodwa-ke uTrump wathi phela nxa kusenziwa ingxoxo mpikiswano kumele omunye ekhangele omunye ukuthi bekhulume okuzwakalayo. Uthi uhlala ngemva kwekhompyutha ube sudibheta kungani akuyenzi sense. So uthi nxa befuna uyathi lokukhuluma bekuqunte nje ugcina ungasakudibheti ngemfanelo. Siyakhumbula ukuthi kuke kwaba le debate yenzakale khonapha kwele Melika ekhuluma ngodaba ngezinto ezitshiyeneyo kuma-debates abo, kwaba ngenye ingxabangxoza. So lisayikhumbula sibili yenzakalayo. So kusanda ukwenziwa enye eyama-Democrats osekela umongameli Trump, uMike Pence, losekela-ke uJoe Biden, unkosikazi Kamala Harris. So leyo-ke kukhanya ngazani beyingxoxo mpikiswano engani iyabonakala ukuthi yangaphi, loba-ke kade bedzwenka ukuthi bakhulume bephumele egcekeni. Kunjalo-ke siyakhumbula ukuthi uTrump kade khona ngale e-Walter Reed hospital lapho kade ungani ezimkhulile sibili. So-ke Marvelous, kunjalo-ke qhubeka khona.
Aiwa, tiri kutarisa isu zviri kuitika imo muno muamerica sekutaura kwanga kuri kuita Gibbs kuti pari zvino mutungamiri weamerica vari kuzivisa ivo kuti zvanga zvakatarisirwa kuti vawanikwe ivo vachiwanikwa navaJoe Biden kuMiami, asi vachishandisa dandemutande sezvatiri kuita izvi. Ivo vati kwete, izvo havasi kubvumirana nazvo, nekuti kuti vaende pakombiyuta vachingotaura sezvazviri kuita zvatiri kuita isusu hazvisiri izvo zvavanga vakatarisa. Vanga vari kuda kuti vanyatsotatsurana vachionana navaJoe Biden padebate irori, asi sekuzwa kwatiri kuita kuti vanga vasiri kunzwa zvakanaka. Saka sangano rinowanikwa iro riri richironga madebate ndorati pari zvino ngavaite virtual debate. Saka tichange tiri kukupai kuti zvichabuda sei muvhiki rinotevera irori, nekuti vanga vakatarisirwa kuti vakwanise kunge vachiwanikwa ivo vachiita debate iri navaJoe Biden musi waOctober 15. Saka tichange tiri kukubatsirai tichikupai nhaurwa idzi patinenge tadziwana kubva kuWhite House ikoko kwavaDonald Trump, tichinzwa kuti pari zvino zvakamira sei panyaya iyoyi.
Yes, and we know that the owners of the show are our callers, the audience, listeners, and so forth. So they usually send us audios via WhatsApp. Remember, if you want to send us your message, send us to this number, +1 202 465 0318. +1 202 465 0318. Let's listen to what some people are saying about what is happening in Zimbabwe. These are messages that are totally unmitigated. People are saying what they want as long as they are not insulting anybody. So let's listen to what they're saying.
Mina ngumoyo ngikhuluma ngiseMangwe district. Ngithanda ukuthi ngizwisise kulabo abantu abachothoza kangaka uThokozani Khuphe ukuthi njengoba besupport uChamisa kangaka, uChamisa lo ngicela banjele ukuthi waye kuyiphi party ngesikhathi segugu round. Bake ba-challenge umhlaba wonke ukuthi uChamisa waye kuli party. Ngoba mina ngiyazi ukuthi khona ngesikhathi segugu round kwakungela MDC yayingekho. So ngabatshela abantu ukuthi uhamba njani. Plus angiboni ukuthi kulento embi ukuthi khona sibe lo khokheli womuntu wesifazane. Kabafuni ukuthi lathi sibuswe umuntu ongumama.
Ngingusithole koBulawayo. Namhlanje ngithanda ukuba ke ngikhulume ngodaba olubuhlungu udaba lwama-NASA pensioners abahola i-RTGS $600. Kambe le imali uhulumende weZanu-PF ubona ngani ile ngqondo uma i-inflation isedlula i-800%, njalo indleko zendlu ngendlu imuli elabantu abangu-5 kumele kube yi-17,000 RTGS.
Mina ngiyathanda ukuthi ngingenele lapho kwezombusazwe lapho. Ngiyezwa likhuluma ngomakhuphe lo MDC Alliance lapho uChamisa. Ningayisekela i-MDC thiye kamakhuphe kodwa ukufanele lihlale likwazi bantu bakithi Mandebele. Thina sivele sibalutshwana kakhulu, ilizwe singeke salibusa sithi sodwa. Kanti yena umakhuphe kubo harale ulama-seats yini okokuqala, yikho kufanele sizinanzeleleni khona. Umakhuphe kabuyele bebambane lo Chamisa ukuze kuvuke ilizwe. Masizama uba i-opposition ephilayo, sibambaneni sibeni ndawonye ka-1, sibe le party esikwazi ukuthi iya-opposa iyi-1. That's why we can remove ZANU-PF. Kodwa i-ZANU-PF asingeke sayikhupha njengoba lihlala libona kuze kube lamabandla avotelayo njenga-last time o-Africa 23 abantu ababefuna i-presidential seat. Sizakwenza njani kokhani ukuthi ilizwe lingafuna upresident abangaka lona livele linganani liyi-population yalo isithini ebantwini abavotayo. So akubunje one opposition party yiyo enga-leader, then umakhuphe kabuyele back to alliance bebambane bekhulumisane lo Chamisa laphana ukuze sizame ukulwisa sibuyele njengakhwaphana isaqale ngothwankirai vele ukuthi ayime njani nje labona ukuthi ike yathatha loba bayincintsha abeZANU-PF sibone ukuthi kuyabe kuhamba kanjani.
So these are some of the people who are saying a lot of things about, what they think about the Kupe and Nelson Chamisa fights, Some people are saying, let them unite. What's stopping them from getting together, and doing whatever they can do politically? So I'm happy that we've got one of our guests, Mr. Ndaniso Ndaniso Mpande. He is in Rwanda. So he's one guy who actually follows politics. And today we wish to hear from him what is happening in terms of, COVID-19 in Rwanda. How are people protecting themselves from the disease? And if ever there are problems, what are the problems they are facing? I think he moved a little bit, so now his camera is a little bit dark, but we can continue. So, Mr. Tebe, welcome to the program, sir.
Oh, Mr. Mpande, thank you, Tube.
Yeah, so I'm used.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm used to the Ndaniso Tebe. So you are Ndaniso Mpande. So how are people actually fighting against this COVID-19?
It's business as usual now. Everyone is out. There is no more lockdown in Rwanda, but there is no social distancing. But people are wearing their mask always, but they are out of their homes.
So now, what do people do on a daily basis? We know that people have got these challenges in terms of accessing money from banks or even getting the money itself, due to high unemployment. So how are they surviving from day one to the last day of the month? And let's take example, how do you survive?
I do run a small project here. I do collect scrap. I do have a peg by the mines there. So I am in mining. Then people here, most of them, they are vendors, and they have turned most of the shops into vending systems. They've moved from the streets to the shops, and we see one or two people doing the commuter thing illegally, because we know we know that Zuko is the only bus operators who are allowed, but we do have people who are doing these things illegally here in Kwanda.
Yes, Talufa ngesindebele sizukuthi wena ngaliphuma ilanga lisiyatshona baba Mpandi. Uyabuphile njani empilweni khona?
Kukhona nje okuyi-project anyana engusebenzayo okwe scrap lokwe emgodini ngale yikho engikwenzayo nsuku zonke, so yikho lapho futhi engithola khona imali yokudla.
Ngathi scrap ithengiswa njani?
Okwami ku-collector kuphela, then bakhona ababuya bezothenga bebuya lapha eGwanda.
Uya njani? Uya-collect insimbi wenze njani?
Ku-collect insimbi, then kulama buyers from Kwekwe and Bulawayo. Kudala kwakubuya la from Harare, but these days abe Harare ababuyi.
Yeah, so ke bambe khonapho ke ungayixatshana uzalungisa ikamera yakho sizakutshela nxa silungile. Marvelous.
Amen uthi vampande munotaura shona here.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't quite.
Saka apo tiri kunzwa kubva kuna vampande vari kuGwanda vari kutaurawo nezvavari kusangana nazvo vachiti ivo vanoita zvescrap metal, vanokwanisa kunge vari kubata zvemasimbi-simbi nezvimwe, vachitaurawo zviri kusangana nevanhu kuti pari zvino panguva yeCovid-19 kunzvimbo kwavari vanhu havasi kuita zvesocial distancing, uyezve vakawanda havasi kupfeka mamask, vachitaura ivo kuti pane vamwewo vari kuita zvekungobatawo zvemaoko, vachiti ivo zvitoro zvakawanda munzvimbo yavari zviri kutowanikwa izvo zvichishandiswa nevamwe vaimboita zvekutengesa zvinhu mumigwagwa vamwe zvitoro vachiwanikwa ivo vari kuita mabasa avo imomo nekuoma kwakaita zvinhu kunzvimbo yavari. Saka ndo zvavari kutaura ipopa, asi tine zvizhinji zvatiri kukupakurirai panyaya yechirwere ichochi cheCovid-19 uyezve pane zviri kutarisana nevazhinji, nekuti nhasi taona mutungamiri wenyika vaEmmerson Mnangagwa vachitaura ivo kuti havasi kuzomanikidzwa kuti vape varayiridzi mari yavari kuda, uyezve tichionawo varayiridzi vari kuchema ivo kuti vari kuda mari kuti vapiwe mari yavo iri muma-US dollars kwete mumabhonde. Saka takaona kuti kutanga kwevhiki rino kwanga kuri zuva reInternational Teachers Day, tikaona varayiridzi nevamwe vachiungana mugweru vachichema-chema panyaya yemihoro yavanoti iyo haina kumira zvakanaka. Saka ndo zvimwe zvatichange tichitarisa tichiona kuti kwamuri ikoko zvii zvamuri kutarisanawo nazvo panguva ino yeCovid-19.
Now we're joined by Mr. Busani Mbusontini. He is a political commentator and he's a Zimbabwean who is living in the USA. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Dube. Hello, my sister.
How are you?
I always struggle with your name. I want to call you Mamhlanga, but
yeah, that sounds fine.
Yes, so thank you so much for joining us. So we also have Mr. Tawanda Tsokora. He belongs to the MTC Alliance. So today we want to focus on things that matter much in your lives. A little bit of politics here and there, but talking about COVID-19, the presidential issue here in USA. So let's start with you, Mr. Tsokora. Looking at the way people are living in USA in terms of COVID-19, do you think that people are protected from the disease, taking into account that maybe the White House has got its own kind of, plate on that in terms of, telling people how to behave and all these kind of things. But basically, do you think that people are protected or not?
Thank you very much, and Dr. Makadi Muri, Zimbabwe. Let me start by talking about my place here, North Dakota, where I'm living. It's a very small state of less than 1 million people, about 762,000 in total. But in the past month, we've seen a surge in coronavirus cases from 20,000 to 25,388, and about 314 people have died so far. And this number is huge compared to the number of people that are in North Dakota. And I think as a government, the US government is doing its best. Its departments here are doing their best to ensure that people should be wearing masks and everything. But I think it is the attitude of people that has caused the increase in numbers. I can tell you that here, people are not wearing masks. People are not taking protective action. And I think it's on the people rather than the government, because the government will be saying people have a choice to wear masks and not to wear masks. And I think it's also coming right from the top, right from the presidents, where they'll be saying masks are not as effective as they should. But I think if people could just take heed and wear the mask and do the social distancing, the numbers will be going down.
Thank you very much, Marvelous.
On that same note, I guess that's what we're seeing also in Washington, D.C. Remember, I went to cover one of the protests that were here, the George Floyd protest by the White House itself. And what I found is that although people are cognizant that there is COVID-19, the issue of the mask, I think people really, really have to take it more seriously. Like what Mr. Jokora is saying, that, it comes from the top. But at the same time, when I asked, they were, youth, they were saying that there are more pertinent issues at the moment for them to worry about than wearing a mask. So, those are some of the issues that we're seeing on the ground, even doing our work as reporters. But I think, you have to take it also personally yourself to make sure that you're protected first, and then make sure that others are also protected, so you're not transmitting or getting it from them. But ndosha ndaonawo imo muno muWashington DC mubasa even ratinoita irori rekutora nhau, kana uchitofamba iye zvinezvi unotoziva kuti pese pauri uri kufamba nemaski yako, asi unosanganawo nevamwe vasati vaziva kukosha kwemaski, nekuti ivo vanenge vachiti pane zviri kuitika munyika zvakakura kukunda nyaya iyo yeCovid-19. Asi sekutaura kwaita vadzvokora, zvinoda kuramba zvichingotaurwa, especially zvichibva kumusoro kune mutungamiri wenyika nevamwewo.
Mr. Ntini, so you are in New York, and that's a place where numbers are going up right now.
Yeah.
Tell us what is happening in New York.
So, Mr. Dube, I'm actually in upstate New York,
Yes.
which is totally different from New York City.
Yes, okay.
But I think at the end of the day, we're under the same governor, so we get to hear the same news. Yes, the numbers are going up, but I think the challenge that the US faced was one, they did not follow the WHO. As soon as Donald Trump pulled us out of the WHO, people started only following what was coming from the White House, which from time to time we're hearing conflicting stories and guidelines. So I think, we didn't follow what the health professionals were saying. That's why people didn't really pay too much attention to the mask issue. People were looking at the president going to rallies with no mask, having meetings at the White House, no mask. So people sort of kind of followed that trend. But I think more and more, especially at the company levels, most of companies that are back to work, they are forcing their people to wear masks. The company that I work for, they provided masks for everybody, even though most of us were still working from home. But those that are back in, they are forced to wear a mask. And also there is some testing that happens when you come in every day. So at the end of the day, I think yes, the second phase is coming back, but unfortunately, the other issue, I think when you look at the WHO, even themselves, from the beginning, they did not emphasize the need for people to wear masks. There was a time they said, oh, you don't need to wear a mask, and then they came back and said, yes, you need to wear a mask. So I think at the end of the day, the guidelines have been confusing for people, especially younger people who think they are immune to COVID-19. You see younger people, getting too relaxed. And once they form a group, especially when the college is opened up, you find a bunch of people hang around. They think, hey, as long as like 20 of us hang around, that means we're all safe. But what they don't realize is that one of them may go elsewhere and pick up COVID-19 and come back and infect the rest of the people. So I think at the end of the day, yes, I agree with the previous caller that we just need to keep talking. Even at home, I have a hard time sometimes telling my 6-year-old that, yes, you need to wear a mask all the time, even when you go to the park or when there's no one around you. Make sure that you wear it every day. It's now, and, just like wearing, pants, that's how we should treat wearing a mask. Don't leave the house without a mask.
Thank you very much, marvelous. We have got Mr. Mpande with us.
Mr. Mpande, maybe going back to what you were talking about, what you're seeing on the ground. What about really the issue? I think you were talking about you're doing small scale farming. What are some of the challenges that you're facing dealing with COVID-19 there in Gwanda?
In small scale mining, the problem that is there is violence. Yes, we can access food, we can access shops. There are people who come with groceries there to sell, and most of the gold partners, they do have money to buy, but the problem is violence. And in most of the cases, we don't know what is it that is causing such
Maybe if you can
such
just
acts.
elaborate on the violence. Is this the same that we were reading about, the people with machetes? What kind of violence are you talking about?
Yes, we do have the machete guys. We do have some small wars for pegs, for mines. There's a lot that is happening there, and we do even have some thugs who are even taking the advantage, robbing people there, their tools, their monies. Such kind of things.
So is the government involved? What are you doing to protect yourselves then?
It's very much hard to involve the government. Of course, we do make some reports to the police. They come sometimes they delay. They claim that they don't have transport. We sometimes offer our transport to come and attend us, but they don't want. If it is if it has to do with violence, they don't want to use private transport because they wouldn't even trust the person who is reporting.
Yes,
let me just quickly translate before I forget. He was really good at elaborating what is going on. Saka po tirikunzwa kubva kuna vaMpande vanoti ivo vari kuita tingati kukorokoza, ndo correct here? I'm hoping.
It's mining.
Vari kuchera zvirimwa, vari kuchera zvicherwa. Asi vari kutaura ivo kuti kwavari kuGwanda vari kutarisana nenyaya yekuti pane vamwe vanouya vachiita zvemhirizhonga, uyezve vachiti ivo panguva iyo vari kuda kuenda kunotaura kumapurisa, mapurisa haakwanisi kunge achizokwanisa kuvabatsira paine nguva. Saka ndabvunza ini ndikati saka zvakamira zvakadaro imi muri kuzvigona sei? Saka ndo zvavanga vari kutaura vachiti matambudziko avari kusangana nawo mukuita basa ravo rekuchera zvicherwa inyaya iyoyi yemhirizhonga. Pane vamwe vanenge vachida kuuya vachitora mamining rights avo, vamwe vachida kuuya vachivabira zvicherwa nezvimwe zvakadaro. Gibbs.
Yes, yabona khona Mpande kule nto zabomBhemba ukuchayana ama-rape cases kugcwele kakhulu khonokho kuma-small scale mining operations. So kunqabela njani nxa singakhangela ikakhulu ulwa ngamaBhemba bese kubuya lokunye okutshiyeneyo le COVID khonapho abantu bathelelani?
Ekuthelelaneni COVID asingeke sitsho ukuthi abantu bayathelelana, but engingakutsho nje ukuthi akula social distancing, akula ngale ezimayini, akula kugqoka ama-mask. But asikaze sihlangane le case ye-COVID ezimayini, akukaze kwenzakala. Ekulweni lapha i-survival of the fittest ngesilungu. Amapholisa nxa walanda ukuthi no sesilenkinga endaweni enje, kunzima ukuthi behle besukume khonapho ngoba labo babe bengazithembi. Kwesinye isikhathi bethi bona abala mota, sithi hayi imota sizalinika, bebuye futhi bengathembi ukuthi khonkoni naleyo mota izafika ibayenzela umsebenzi ofanele khona ngale.
So singathi kulobuzima sibe
Yeah, kulobunzima ku-violence. Kulobunzima sibili kakhulu. Ngikhuluma nje kathesi emavikini amathathu adlulileyo. Kulo mfana omncane otholakale efile esiporweni lapha. Laba abasebenza naye bathi usuke esithi uye eGwanda etown but kafikanga. Bona bathe sebelandela ekuseni bamiswa ngamapholisa besithi kambe lo muntu lingabe liyamazi, bathi bathola ukuthi umuntu abasebenza naye. Bahle bathi hayi nomuntu lo siyamazi. Bamthole efile esiporweni.
Yeah, kulobuzima sibili. So now he's talking about somebody who was found dead, a few days ago. So he says, there's too much violence in the mining area. So let's bring in Mr. Tsokora so that you can go ahead and talk to him in terms of some of these social issues. Go ahead.
Tomboenda kwamuri vadzokora kuti
ndasinganzwa zvavanga vachitaura. Can you
okay, vamupande vanga vari kutaura matambudziko avari kusangana nawo kugwanda vanoita ivo
ndasinganzwa zvavanga vachitaura. Can you just repeat the question?
Oh yes. So what you are saying is that at the end of the day, all what is happening in Rwanda, there is some mining activities that are taking place, but the problem is violence. There's so much violence in Rwanda. So I think, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, there are these kind of social conflicts in Zimbabwe, and even here in USA, we see there are these issues concerning Black Lives Matter and so forth. So the world is coming to a situation where even if it's a global village, you know that there's a problem that is here and another one there. So in terms of what you're doing right now, Mr. Tsokora, where you are, do you think that your business that you're doing is actually making you to survive under this COVID pandemic?
It's very difficult what is going on, and you can see here that you cannot remove the political question from the social and economic situations of people. Here in America, you can see what is going on right at the top. That regainditaure neshona kuti kumusoro uko kunenge kuchitaurwa kunzi mamask haana basa, musapfeke mamask. Vanhu zvinotaurwa nevanhu vakuru ndo zvavanoteerera. Saka tinoona kuti vanhu havasi kuteerera, havasi kutombopfeka zvavo mamaski kana kuita sei, nekuda kwokuti kumusoro kuri kutaurwa kunzi mamaski haabetsere. Ndo zviri kuitika kumusha kweduwo zvakare, kuti dambudziko ratiri kuona nderekuti nyika yedu yaparara, yaondongwa, yaenda kumawere, nekuti vakuru vari kumusoro uko havasi kuteerera nhamo dzevanhu vari pasi, sevari kugwanda, vari kutambura, vari kuhwedza, vari kuchimani-mani. Hakuna munhu ari kuteererwa. Vanhu vari kumusoro vari kungoita zvavanenge vangoita. Muri kuona zviri kuitika kuparliament. Kunofanira kunge kuine komiti inoona nezvewelfare yevanhu. Kunofanira kunge kuine komiti inoona nezveutano hwevanhu, komiti yehealth. The committee for health is not sitting right now because of what is going on in the Zimbabwean parliament. Yet nurses are not going to work, doctors are not going to work. The committee for education is not sitting right now.
But basically, my question was, you are here in USA, and do you think what you are doing right now under these COVID circumstances is worth what you think is making your life to be?
Obviously not, but like my brother in upstate New York was saying, the companies that we work with, that we work for, have taken heed of the instructions being given by the government. Because while the government here is saying we don't want you to wear, you can wear a mask or not, or masks are not important. Their department, as a government, there is a lot of functionality in terms of providing people information, in terms of providing people what they need to survive, in terms of financial support, in terms of the masks themselves. They are being provided. People are just making a choice not to take them up. But myself, on a personal level, I wear a mask every time, everywhere where I go. And I also instruct my family to do the same thing. And because of the upsurge in coronavirus cases here in North Dakota, I've even instructed my children who work in the health industry that they should even consider quitting the job if there are people there that are coming without masks. just to save themselves, because we have had a very big surge in the past 2 weeks. In fact, the headlines in all North Dakota newspapers and TVs and radios where there is a high risk that the numbers are going to double in the next 2 weeks. So it's very scary. So even if you are in business, okay.
Yeah. So now looking at what is happening around you, Mr. Ntini, do you feel comfortable in terms of COVID-19?
No, actually, I do not. I
Is that
think
for me?
Yeah, it's for Mr. Ntini.
Okay.
as the cases are now skyrocketing once again, it's really hard to know what are we supposed to do. Like right now, the kids are back to school. Lucky enough, my 6-year-old studied grade 1. We chose that she should do the virtual, learning. So she's learning from home. So we are trying to really eliminate the exposure. The only time that we go out is if we are going to the park to play, but of course, we make sure that we are physically and social distancing. And also, when you go to the store to buy groceries. But, pretty much we have kind of eliminated any other activity that is not necessary so that we eliminate, our contact with the outside world. We don't even have our parents coming to visit. We don't have friends coming to visit. We have a 6-month-old that nobody else has seen, in person because we are trying to, keep everybody safe. But I think at the end of the day, each person has to do something. If I wear my mask, you wear your mask. At the end of the day, I think we can all collectively contribute to limiting the transmission of COVID-19. But if we have a few people that are not listening to what needs to be done, it may not go away. At the end of the day, I think we are hoping that there will be a vaccine soon so that people can, go back to, what they used to do. We need to find, that normal, because what's happening right now is not normal. But at the end of the day, we just have to keep trying individually as families or co-workers to make sure we protect one another. That's the only thing we can do at this point, Babadu.
Marvelous. Before that, clarifying isindebele, just briefly.
Kunzima kakhulu ukuthi umuntu ngamunye ebe comfortable ngento okwenzakalayo emhlabeni ngoba awukwazi ukuthi umuntu ohlangana laye kuyini yena akwenzileyo kuyini ngubani ahlangane laye, ikakhulu kulabantu abahamba emsebenzini, kulabantu abahamba bedlala, ikakhulu ngakhangela abantu abanathayo amabhawa. Abantu basuka bekhohlwe i-social distancing le-physical distancing. So mina personally njenge-family, umntwana ethu o-grade 1 hayi ufunde ekhaya, umntwana omncane ole-6 months la simgcina ngikhaya uyaphuma nje phandle khona lokho, kodwa siyazama ukuthi sihlale sibe thina njenge-family ndawonye kuphela, kungangeni abanye abantu abaningi. Yikho esingakwenza, umuntu wonke engazama ukuthi egqoke imask, ukuthi ungaphuma phandle unanzelela ukuthi ubi ndawonye labantu ongabaziyo. Yindlela esinganqoba ngayo i-COVID-19 sisamelele i-vaccine leyo ebuyayo.
Yeah, marvelous.
I will target Mr. Mpande. Looking this Sunday, it's the International Day of the Girl Child. Are there any women, small-scale miners where you are in Gwanda? How are they treated, or young girls around that the mining community? How are they treated?
It's unfortunately. I've mentioned earlier that we have some people who come with groceries for sale in mines, and one of those are school-going children. So they have joined the life there, and some of them they are now in relationship with the quechas, the small-scale miners. So we have a very big problem there. Even their parents They are even testifying in some forums here that they have lost their children to small scale miners. So I think we have a very big challenge in that area.
And what do you think the government should do regarding that? Because when we look at the, situation of the girl child, like you're saying, now they've actually dropped out of school to be able to come and sell some of these groceries. But is the government aware of what's going on?
I'm not so sure if they are away, but it was my wish that the schools must open. But it's unfortunately that when the government attempted to open the schools, the teachers went to strike due to low wages. So now, if the government was going to improve the learning system or the education system, it was going to rescue our young girls there.
Yes, ke saxoxa ke lo Benjani Marwari lamhlanje ngilo Ezra Jesus Banda kuhlelo lethu Zimbabwe Today sixoxeni. So ke Benjani was saying that he's back at his old club, that is Portsmouth, and now he's acquiring various certificates in coaching. So he's saying that he's happy that he's back at his club and is looking at having a very good time there. And he says the future is in his hands and is hoping for the best at the club. So let's listen to what he said about this concerning his new career. So sizwe-ke uBenjani ekhuluma ngodaba lolu.
So I'm very happy ukuthi Portsmouth njengamanje imvulele umnyango yathi abuya silokufundisa futhi wabuya nasakufundisa ibhola uyasifundisa ucoach ukuthi ucoach kanjani. So ngiyakujabulela lokho. I'm back again coaching. I just did my level UEFA B no A. So I'm doing hours with Portsmouth at the moment.
Okay. Benji wadlalela iZimbabwe iqembu lokuthiwa Warriors. Sikhangeleke ibhola leZimbabwe. Ibhola leZimbabwe likhanya seliyangisile emhlabeni ngendlela ke elisetshenzwa ngalo ngazo zinkokheli ezifana neZimbabwe Football Association.
Let's say we have to business. We have to plan it. Ube ne plan ukuthi ukuthi senze so sigcine sesilapha yabo. So njengoba sasitshona sisilo nje sithi at least uma kungaba lo muntu wadlala ibhola lapha phezulu lapha and then ezisurrounded ngabantu abaku-business yabo or else kube lo muntu ongadlala ngebhola on top azisurrounded abantu abebhola. You understand? So by doing so uyakwazi ukuthi mase sikhuluma ngebhola la abantu bazokwazi ukuthi no, it's not possible ukuthi ama-player at this time drive from Zimbabwe to Malawi. That's bad planning. You understand? So bekwazi calendar ye-FIFA even manje still sokulula even mina nginje so I can go Google ngibona ukuthi calendar ye-FIFA ama-dates ama-friendly games anini ama-games amampela anini. Then ngiyakwazi ukuthi ngoSeptember siyadlala. I have to start preparing mhlawumbe ngabo March February ukuthi game so we have to ukuthi sibe nama-tickets aso ama-informate are-ready ama-players siyabe sikwazi ukuthi abe ready wabobani ngoba siyabukela ama-games adlalwa all over the world ukuthi ubani udlala kukhuna kamba isiye Hadebe is in Turkey, Kadewere is in France, ama-players labo lunga baningi ama-players tumenzi nabo nomsona Belgium even lami nje ngiyalandela ibhola ngalidlala ngiyabe ukwazi ukuthi ungafuza ukuthi ubani uzokutshela ubani ukuthi uzokutshela.
So that is Benjani Marwari. I think you guys still remember him, He used to play for Portsmouth and he started in Makwekwe. What you don't know is that maybe we played with him at the Zulu Royals at one stage and he used to have so many clubs that he would play with. And These are local clubs, We used to have these small plastic balls that we used to play, in the suburbs. And we used to enjoy it. So, but at the end of the day, it was something that we used to cherish, So I'm happy that you guys are back. So now, before we proceed, I think Mr. Mpande was saying something about the girl child. So Baba Mpande ubukhuluma waqhubeka khona ukutshela ngamafutshane ukuthi abantwana abangamankazana bathole nzima kanganani ngasikhangela esimayini khona.
Kulo hlupho olukhulu kakhulu ezimayini ngoba abantwana abangamankazana yibo asebethengisa ngikhona ngale uzathola ukuthi umuntu ogebha igolide uyabe lemali eningi kumbe ehle ethenge konke khona okubuye lo mntwana oyinkazana ebuye emnikele enye imali kuyabe kuyindlela yokumkhombisa and abaningi babo vele sebekhombile khona le ezimayini bona bengabantwana besikolo besilesifiso sokuthi ngabe labo bantwana bayabuyela esikolo ngabe izikolo ziyavula pho-ke uhulumende uthe uyakuzama lokhu ama-teacher haya ku-strike ngendaba yokuthi abalaholo esikhalela ukuthi ngabe uhulumende uyazamela ama-teacher abantwana bebuyele ezikolo ngoba enye inkinga futhi esesiyibona of course ngapha eGwanda besingakahlangani layo besikubona ku-WhatsApp kusenzakala kwezinye indawo abantwana sebegonana abantwana sebebhemi ama-drugs izinto ezinjengazenezi so kuyinto futhi esiyesabelayo ukuthi even lakhona apha eGwanda yinto eseduze ngendlela abantwana sebephila ngakhona lalabo abagebha igolide ezimayini.
So what he's talking about is, some of these videos that we're seeing on social media, we are seeing young girls, and boys doing some very strange things. And he's saying it's because schools are not open in most places. So let's go to Mr. Tsokora. So when we look at the girl child, Mr. Tsokora, we know that on Sunday, this is a very special day for the girl children. So briefly, how best can the girl child be protected worldwide, or even groomed to be, somebody that becomes a big person in the world? So briefly on that, Mr. Tsokora.
Okay, thank you very much. Ndafara kunzwa mkoma Benji Marwaru is one of our superstars.
Yes.
Maitabasa Mbotinzwisa. And on the girl child, that's a very serious issue, not only here but also in Zimbabwe. We are not seeing the girl child being protected, and wherever there are social, economic, and political problems, you will see that the girl child will suffer. Mostly, they are always on the receiving end. The women are supposed to be providing for the families, and at the end of the day, they fail to provide for the families. The girl child is thrown in the streets. They start doing things like prostituting and all sorts of things. I think we need to do more as a people, as governments, and as world citizens to support the girl child.
Yes, Marvelous.
aiwa ini ndingada kutenda vaMupande nekuti ndapotsa ndachema pavataura nyaya yezviri kuitika kuGwanda kuvanasikana panguva iyo sekutaura kwandaita munguva yapfuura pasi rose neZimbabwe vari kurangarira International Day of the Girl Child. Saka zvakakosha inyanya kune vanhu vakadai savanaMupande kuti varambe vachitaura nezvenyaya idzi nekuti dzimwe nyaya hatisi kudzinzwa, especially panguva ino yeCovid-19. Vataura ivo kuti vana vari kuenda kunotengesa zvinhu zvakadai semagrosari nemaswiti nezvimwe, vozowanikwa vachitorwa nemagweja voitwa madzimai, vana vanenge vasati vabva zera. Saka zvinhu zvaticharamba tichingotaura uyezve tichiramba tichingoshuwira kuti hurumende inonzwawo zvichemo zviri kubva kunzvimbo dzakadai sekumamisha nyanya, nekuti ndo kune vana vakawanda vari kutarisana nedambudziko irori, nekuti pari zvino havasi kuenda kuzvikoro. Saka nguva dzakawanda vari kuedza kuti vabatsire vatingati vabereki vavo nekutengesa nezvimwewo, asi sekutaura kwaita vaMupande vari kuwanikwa vachizopinda munjodzi dzekutorwa, vachibhinywa, vachiitwa madzimai ivo vasati vabva zera.
Yes, Mr. Mtini, maybe on the girl child, what's your take on exactly what is going on in terms of the girl child worldwide and in your locality and your family, maybe? That's very short, very briefly. Just hold on 1 second, Mr. Mtini. I think, yes, quiet.
As a father of 2 girls, a girl child is very important to me. So I can't even, I'm very emotional when I hear what Impande is talking about, how, young girls are impacted at home, especially in Zimbabwe. So I think when you look at, in the case of Zimbabwe and many other countries in Africa, it all starts with, families. The girl child has always been regarded as a lesser to the, sons.
Mhm.
So, every parent, I think if we all make sure that we promote the girl child equally as boys, I think we can, eliminate some of the issues. But when you look at a country like Zimbabwe, these kids are out there not because they want to be, but because of the situation, the economic situation, the education situation that they are in. They don't have parents, they are orphans. So I think, if every parent was there and the government was actually helping these parents to take care of their own kids, we have less and less of the kids out there on the streets. Personally, it's very touching. Like I said, I'm a father of 2 girls, and I cannot imagine my girls having to go through what some of these girls are going through in Africa. When you look at countries like, the US, I believe that, equity is getting more attention. I believe, sometimes we talk about equity in terms of like black, white, brown, and many other colors, but I think also when you look at women, men at work, things are changing, and we hope that these things will happen in Africa as well, and any other country in the world where the girl child is left behind. I think like they say, no child should be left behind, and I think girl child should be left behind. We really, really need to help the girl child, because what happens, you may have boys and girls, they are all out there as orphans, but the boys will be able to protect themselves. Girls are always manipulated by the same boys that they're out there with as orphans. So I think the government has to do a better job of making sure that the parents have jobs. Parents can take care of their kids, and as parents, you should not be a parent. You're out there and you don't know where your girl child is spending the day or the night. We need to protect them by all means necessary.
Now we're left with only a few minutes. So let's listen to what some people are saying. These people that are sending us videos and audios. So let's just listen.
Harume zviri kuitwa kumusha nezanu PF nanakupe hei izvo zvakutirwadza izvo omana hei MDC tavavarirwa kubva kare. Ndakutongoona kuti zvemaelections hazvishandi kuZimbabwe izvi. Kubva muna 2000 MDC tichingohwina tichingobirwa. Izvi zvamana dei vanhu vatombofunga zvimwe kwete zvemaelections. Namunangagwa watigura kunorira vamana taneta nekugara kunyika dzevamwe wakomana kwedu kumusha tinako vamana zviri kuitwa nezanu PF pamusoro pokuti ivake nyika iri kutorwisa bato redu zvakaipa.
Nokukwazisai mose nechirongwa chamunotipa. Ndiri muno muBotswana muFrancistown Gloria, ndichitivo nezvatakahwa zvatinohwa zvanakupe kuti vakatogadziwa kuva vana maparamende, kuva vanhu vangozvitora kungozvigadza mupariamendi kana vaiswa naivo vanhu vezanu. Asi chatinongokurudzira ndechekuti vanakupe vanofanira kuziva kuti vakadliwa pamavhoti atakaita 2018. Vakadliwa, havana chavakawana kana, asi zvinezvi vari kutora vari kutenderana nezanu vachitogwa vachigadziwa muzvigaro zvavakapiwa izvozvo vasina munhu akambovavhotera, vasina kana musangano wavakaita. Tinongoti kana vari vanhu vanongoshandiswa nezano, mangwana muchachema. Isu hatimboregi kusapota Chamisa. Chamisa unosapotewa kusvikira zvanaka. Neniwo ndanichitokurudzira zvangu bato reMDC Alliance kuti dai zvaibvira imimi ingotsvagaivo rimwe zita, kana zvazvichibvira fomai rimwe zita, tizive kuti kana muchivhotegwa tivone kuti iyo MDC tiyoyoyo vanhu vachavavhotera ivavo vachavawana kupi. Togwadziwa kwazvo tichiwa zvinoitiwa munhangire munyika yeZimbabwe. Vana kupe vose vavanosapotana navo vavanosapotana navo vasingahwikwi kuti zvii zvavanosapota. Isu tongosapota zvatakatarira, zvatinoona, munhu watinoona unogona kuti ungabatsirana navanhu, une rudo navanhu, kwete zvinokuitwa nevanhu vezano izvi. Tarirai kuti purezidendi unongorega vanhu vachiita zvavanoda iye akatarira. Iye zvinowagadza vana kupe kuti vave mukati mehurumende yavo imomomo vachibira vanhu vari muzano. Zvose zvavari kuita izvozvo hazvina kana nekwazvinombosvika. Kana muchibira vanhu muchihwande zvichabuda pachena. Mwari Baba tinovatenda, ivo vekudenga tinovakudza, vakatipa mwanakomana iye Jesu Kristu mutungamiri. Farisisa nyimi vatendi mose makatengwa, neropa imbiranyi nerufaro, kuneyo nzira kumsha kumsoro. Tarisai zvoite nyika yotenderera yopidiguka. Mwari zvino ave kuuya kuzotora vake kumsha kumsoro. Farisisa nyimi vatendi mose makatengwa, neropa imbiranyi nerufaro, muneyo nzira kumsha kumsoro.
We are ending this show, Marvelous, on that high note. You heard the song, right?
Yes.
Woman is paving the way for the weekend.
And
Our time is out. Yes.
Happy International Women's Day to all. Happy International Girl Child Day to all the girls out there. And hopefully everything will go well during this COVID-19 era. I'm Marvelous Mhlanganya, who are broadcasting from my home in Washington, D.C.
And wish to thank our guests this evening, Mr. Vusani Mbusontini. He is here in USA. Mr. Tawanda Tsokora in USA as well. And Mr. Ndaniso Mpande, he is in Gwanda. You know, in Gwanda, you find everything there. You can go to the shops and buy amakrimbi. You know amakrimbi, Marvelous?
Yes, but I have to really say a special shout out to Mr. Mpande, especially on the issue where he spoke about the girl child and some of the issues that they are facing during this COVID-19 pandemic in the mining area where he's at in Gwanda. So thank you there, Mr. Mpande.
Thank you so much, everybody. Sign off is Kip Stube in Maryland. Bye-bye.